Right, girls. Morning. We're starting class.
My dad would never do that.
Who needs the booklet here? Whoever needs, come on up.
Thank you. Are they getting us copies of the book?
Yeah, you're getting the book. God willing. Here you go. Who else? There you go. Booklets, do you have one?
It's in English, right?
I don't.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so we're supposed to get another few. Whoever didn't get yours? No, it's yours. I have my book. Hello. Good morning. I'm great, thank God.
I love your style.
Thank you. I like yours too. Do you notice me checking you out when you walk in?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I was. You need a booklet? Ruthie's gonna come up with more, God willing. All right. We are starting chapter 1 on sefer Tomer Devorah. Again, I just want to repeat that the premise of this book is understanding that when I walk in God's footsteps, when I act like Him, when I mimic Him, or anyone that's in my life, basically, when I love someone or I'm connected to someone or someone's in my life, I end up talking like them, acting like them sometimes, having the same hand mannerisms as they do. Why? Because when you love someone and you're connected to someone, you end up being like them. You end up talking like them, acting like them, eating like them sometimes. You just end up, without even realizing, subconsciously, you mimic them. So the way to get close to someone, or an example, or a proof of two things being close to one another, is by their similarity. So how do you get close to God? Like, you can't get close to God. You can't get close to Him. You can't get close to Him. How do you get close to God? It sounds like a contradiction in terms. The way to get close to God is not by being close to God. The way to be close to God is to be similar to God, to act like Hashem, to walk in His footsteps. It says, "Ma'u rachu, ma fatarachu, ma'u chanun, ma fatachanun." What He is, you be. The way He interacts with you, you interact with others, or you interact with yourself. Now, a lot of us have a very, very different kind of perception on Hashem, because when things don't go good in our life or well in our life, I'm trying to find a parking spot and I can't, and God, for me to find a parking spot for Hashem is like a no-brainer, right? It's like nothing for Him. And when me, as a human being, my experience of Hashem is that, come on, why always me? How come? It's so easy for you. Why can't you just do it? What's the big deal? Why can't you just make things better? Why can't you just heal my mother, heal my father? Why can't you just make us rich? Why can't you just give me an easier life? It's so easy for you, God. Why are you making it so hard on me? Because we're human beings, and we know this from our last class, is that knowledge is power. The more knowledge you have about the way things work in this world, especially about God, because He's the one that makes everything work in this world, the more free you are in life. The more limited you are in your knowledge of really what's going on in this world and how things work, and why He's not giving you that parking space when it's such a no-brainer for Him, and why He's not giving you the things that you need in your life that's so easy for Him. What's the problem? Send me a friend that is just going to be like such a good, amazing person for me. Why do I always have to be alone? So it's nothing for you. Why do you have to make me suffer so much? Right? When I understand that connecting, like Rabbi Nachman says, that when you connect to the sechel behind the things, you connect to the knowledge, how do things really operate, it'll save you years of anger and frustration and reading things the wrong way. And so this whole work that we're doing here in Tomer Devorah is understanding Hashem's ways, like getting to really know Him in a way of coming out of my wonderland idea of what Hashem is, right? Coming out of my, He works for me, and when He doesn't do what I say, and when I don't get the script that I want in my life, then I have the energy inside of me that feels like anger and feels like hatred and anger towards Hashem, towards God. Now, I am the one that gets affected by that, not Him.
Can I just make one announcement?
Sure.
We can't put the phones away off the desk, so we're going to have to take them away from the class. So I really want everyone's phones put away, so no one should be looking at
No one's distracted. No one's distracted.
We'll make an announcement every
Yeah.
time. No, but put them away.
Yeah, you can record, sure.
I'm gonna check my phone.
Okay, no problem. Okay, if you want to record the class, you could always put your phones on this desk. It'll be better for recording also, probably. Ruthie, bless you so much. Thank you so much. It's Gil Mitzvahs. Oh, wait, you know what, Ruthie? I think we need more. How many more do we need? Raise your hands if you didn't get the booklet. Oh, we need 4. 5. Wait, raise your hands again if you didn't get. Yeah, we got 5. Oh, we got 6.
She also did that.
Wow. Okay, great. Okay. So what we're saying here is that now I'm reading my life in a way that makes me angry and full of anger and hatred towards God. And really it's because I'm lacking an understanding of how he interacts with the world. So when I teach you now, act like Hashem, you're like, yeah, act like Hashem and give other people a really bad, miserable life where they, instead of thrive, they have to survive their whole life. Where instead of being happy, they just have to figure out how to deal with the circumstances that God set up for them in their life, with their parents, with their traumas, with their childhood, with their current stuff that they lug around all day. So I have to be like God? No, I want to be better than him, actually. Why do I think that way? I think that way because I'm so limited in my understanding of what he does and who he is and why he does what he does. So we'll never really fully be able to understand God, because if I were to fully understand God, I would be God. If you fully understand something, the thing is a part of you already. If you know how to give over a class fully from beginning to end, and you know the concept and you give it over, that means this knowledge is a part of your mind. It's a part of yourself. Okay, not necessarily. One time I got an email from this guy that was listening to one of my classes online, and he was like, you talk about being successful, and you talk about love, or you talk about, these concepts, and look at you, you're divorced. How are you even talking about those things? How are you talking about things that are clearly not happening in your life? So after he hit me in the gut, and that hit me, not because he made me feel bad about myself, no, because maybe he's right. Maybe, how do you preach about something? How do you speak about something when you're not there yet? So here's the good news. The good news is that most of us, especially teachers, authors, speakers, mentors, leaders, okay, most of the people that are giving over, people know a lot of stuff in their mind because that's the intellectual, cognitive part of us. But human beings have so many parts to them. So many parts to them. So you have the part that gets the information. I get it. I get how 1 + 1 = 2. I get it. I get how it works. I get how when you combine water and oil, the oil floats to the top and the water settles on the bottom. I get it. I get that these things don't connect. When you have knowledge, you can understand it in your mind and your brain. But to now move it into the emotional body and now become everything that you know is a lifelong mission. And the day that we die, we will not be done with that lifelong mission. A person will never be done working on themselves emotionally, working on themselves on their midos, working on the way they respond, working on the way their triggers work, how their triggers affect them, working on their breathing, working on their moving into a space where it's not just emotional reaction, and it's not just cold cognitive reactions. It's a combination between me, my mind, and myself, which is my emotional self. A lot of people are very, 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 very advanced intellectually or in their businesses and the way they make money, but in their emotions, they're babies. They're babies. They immediately have knee-jerk reactions. Immediately they blow up. Immediately they shut down. Immediately they run away. Immediately they punch the other person back. They can't control their emotional selves, but their minds and what they know is so advanced. Because human beings are a combination. You're a combination of where you put your effort. And the classes that we're going to be doing in Tomer Devorah is going to shift us from stopping to be such obsessors over, because the world has made us obsessive over getting it right and understanding that any single time I'm going to learn something new that is of value. Any single time I'm going to learn something new that is of value, from riding a bike all the way up to any kind of profession or anything that I'm learning for the first time, thank you so much, falling off the bike, crashing, not getting it right, being frustrated with the fact that I'm not getting it right, is exactly part of the learning. It means that I'm getting there. It means that I'm getting it. It means that now I'm moving into a space of acquiring a new understanding in life. That is how it's set up. It never goes from the womb to running. It always goes from the womb to turning, to shifting, to baby moves to his side. You're like, oh, you're advancing. All that, it's in order for the baby to know how to eventually run. How to eventually use, but that's how and wanting to skip stages, wanting to just get better, wanting to just be there already, wanting to just have all the things that I want for myself already, that's immaturity. Because what that's going to lead me to is constant frustration. I'm expecting myself to learn how to ride a bike when I don't even know how to walk. I have to work with myself. And chapter number 1 of Tomer Devorah, he's going to start talking about what it means, compassion. Because I could be like, God doesn't love me because he's not sending me the love of my life. Maybe that is the highest level of compassion. Maybe the way I'm translating that, maybe the way I'm looking at that, maybe the fact that you're in this seminary and not your number one choice that you were so bummed out about and you were so annoyed about last year, February or March, that you didn't get that that first seminary that you wanted, but you got into other ones, right? Maybe that is compassion. And the way we experience that is, why are you doing this to me? All my friends are going here. This is where I'm supposed to be going. Why are you doing this to me? Why are you so mean to me? Why so unfair? Isn't it enough? Isn't it enough that I give up so much, I do so much, I'm religious, I keep Shabbos? I'm going to Israel to freaking learn Torah for a year. Why do you work with me here? Because really, what I'm not understanding is what is real compassion. Because I have to understand that first and foremost, God is kulo tov, it's all good. The fact that my script is not aligning with Hashem's script in my life doesn't now mean that he's mean or he wants to get me or he's unfair or unjust. It just means that my translation, the way I'm seeing it as mean. I'm not seeing it as compassion. So we're going to start learning how to mimic Hashem in his compassion ways, in his ways of compassion. And it's not always going to look like what we think. You know why? Because I don't want to turn you guys into a bunch of people pleasers. Because that's what it means then when the way we see my child wants chocolate, I'm not going to give it to him. Of course I'm going to give it to him. I'm not going to be mean. But he wants to go out with his friend that's a loser and that's going to drag him down the wrong path. I'm going to say no? Of course I'm going to say yes. It's my child and he's asking me. That's not compassion. That's not compassion. Sticking your kid in front of a screen for 14 hours a day or 10 hours a day because you need free time and because he really, 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 really wants to watch his favorite shows is not compassion. So to become like God means to be like God and to walk in his footsteps and to do things like him. And we're going to start with the first way that Hashem interacts with the world and the way Hashem interacts with you in your life. This is the first way. This is the first midah. Mika kamocha. Mika kamocha. So, let's begin. And just remind me to take attendance, please. Thank you so much. Okay, the way the book works. Okay, for now, you got the text, the Tomer Devorah text, which is not easy. Oh, girls that need, here, pass it back. Here, it's this way. It goes the Hebrew text, the text from Tomer Devorah, from the Ramak, okay, which is not easy. The Hebrew is not easy. The English that they translate word for word, which is also not so clear. And then the way the book works is that it breaks it down into the concepts that we're talking about, okay? And so under every category of a midah of God, I don't have any more. Under every category of the midah of Hashem is the way he interacts. Remember, your midos are the way you interact. It has nothing to do with objectively what's going on in your life. It has everything to do with how you interact with what's going on in your life. A person that's been never loved, never hugged, never cared for, abused, criticized their whole life, you're going to come into their life, you're going to start loving them. They're going to be able to take bite-sized pieces of your love. And anything more than that, they're going to view you as a threat. They're going to view you as dishonest. They're going to view you as someone that's trying to get something from them. Why? You're like pure. You're like, I just bought you a thing. I wanted to tell you about this. I wanted to invite you to this. I cared about you, the fact that you're dealing on your own, so I wanted to come help you. And because their wiring is set up in a way where they were never shown any of that energy called love, and of that energy called you're worthwhile, you're worth my time, you're worth my energy, you're worth my effort, you're worth my eye contact, you're worth my I care, I want to, for no reason. Otherwise, aside from the fact that you're worth it, they don't know how to translate that. They don't know how to value that. They stick a label on that of she's just trying to get something from me. She's trying to use me. She's trying to get behind my back so she can get things from me. Okay? Or she's giving it to me because, she feels bad for me. Or a million ways of translating love. And it's just pure and simple love. So what we're learning here is that the more I heal my emotional body, the more I heal the parts of myself that are wired in the wrong way, the more I'm able to be a magnet for all the things that I really want in my life, as opposed to running away from them and pushing them away. And saying it's his fault, it's her fault, I blame this person, I blame that person for not feeling love, for not feeling accepted, for not feeling a part of things, for not feeling happy. I blame these people, and it had the blame, there's no such thing as blame. It is what it is. It's a result of. You're dealing with the results of, your wiring is set up in a way as a result of people in your life when you were growing up that didn't have the tools, didn't have the skills, that they themselves were damaged. And that's what it means to have generational trauma. And why Tomer Devorah has come out now in the most amazing, amazing time in history, where it's been out for about 200 and something years, but it's only coming out, and it's become like the new hot thing to learn in the market today, is because it literally is the language of people that are just desperate and hungry for basic human touch and connection, but they're wired because of the generational trauma. Think about our grandparents that have gone through Holocaust, that have gone through pogroms, the Jewish people that have always been. That's why there's absolutely no space for anti-Semitism anymore. Not just because of me, but because of my generations to come out of me. The reason that the Jewish people have the highest level of mental illness from all the other peoples in the world is because of the generational trauma they were carrying with us of running away. My own grandmother ran away from the ghetto, and as she's running away with two babies in her hands, one of them freezes to death and the other one starves to death, and she has to bury them in the snow and keep running. That kind of stuff gets passed down generation, where all of a sudden I can have a friend show up in my life at the age of 37, 38 in my life, and all this friend wants to do is be a friend to me, and all that comes out, all the red signs that start, the signals that start beeping in my brain are warning, 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 warning. Why? Because generationally already, and from the way I grew up, being that my parents grew up in that kind of reality and in that kind of environment where we don't pay attention to emotions and we don't pay attention to feelings, and that stuff is for you to just swallow and not bring out to the surface. You just have to function. You just have to be normal, right? And that kind of stuff already, when someone offers me love or someone offers me care or someone offers me, I'm automatically going to think, what do they want from me? What's the real agenda here? What are they hiding? Where are they being disloyal? Automatically. And then I have all the videos on YouTube to back me up, because everyone's narcissistic today. Everyone. So I'm like, you see, I'm right. She's narcissistic. That's why she's... And it could be that people are. And there are lots of narcissists out there because of their own awful programming that they got as children, that they were abandoned and rejected and not loved and all that stuff that creates narcissists that they can't see anyone else aside from themselves. And they have no empathy because they were never shown any. So what we're moving here, what we're understanding, and from just starting to walk in God's footsteps, just starting to mimic His ways, is that He is all compassion. And it's not compassionate to come to someone that they're fully starved and just give them a ton of food. That's not compassion, because then their bellies are going to explode and then they're going to get really, really sick or die. That's not compassion. But they're starving for love. I know, but Hashem gives things to people where they can handle it and how they can fully absorb it, and not to just give them all the good in the world. Because God can give me all the love I need right now in my life, but if I'm not healed, if I'm not healing, if I'm not knowing how to accept love, I won't even recognize it. I'm going to see it as a threat. So sometimes when God says no to you and says, no, honey, you're not going to go to that seminary. You're not going to go to that place. You're going to go here because here it's better for you. Because here they're going to give you the tools that you so really need. And it's going to be a little bit of a longer way. It's not going to be as easy. But it's going to deliver for you way better in your life. And apparently, it so turns out that pain, when we experience pain, when we go through pain, emotional pain, and sometimes physical pain as well, something happens to us. It brings out the vulnerable parts of us. It brings out the us in us. It takes down all the stuff that's blocking us from being ourselves, all the stuff that we learned along the way of life to, like, the way I act, the way I talk, the way I am, my cool, my this, my that. That's all defense mechanisms to defend, to keep me on the inside and to keep the world on the outside. So sometimes Hashem puts us through painful experiences when He's not going to give us what we need, and He's going to make us go through hard things, because that eventually what it does, it's like one of those cookies, those Chinese cookies. What are they called? The fortune cookie that you have to crack it open in order to be able to get that wisdom. And maybe that is true compassion, as opposed to giving the kid what he wants 24/7 just to keep him happy and shut up, but he's not really happy. He's suffocating. Yeah.
Like, in regards to, like, us, when we have our own kids, when things understand, like, how do we show that compassion while still showing love? Like, maybe I'm not to say no to my kid if he wants, like, candy, because, like, it's gonna, like, ruin his teeth, but how do I do that while still showing him that I love you? Like, I'm not doing this to hurt
The
you.
answer to all parenting classes, the number one answer to all relationship stuff, whether it's your kids, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your friends, wherever you are in life, the number one, the bottom line to everything, and that is why I'm dedicating my life to this. Dedicating my life to this is the more you invest in yourself, which means the more you invest in your own triggers, and the more you learn how to react from a healthier place and not from your normal knee-jerk reaction place. The more you heal your emotional body, the more you heal your mind, the healthier everything in your life will be, including those children of yours, the man you're going to attract, the home you're going to run, the life you're going to live, your friendships. The more beef you have with more people in your life, the more machlokas you have with more people in your life, it's just a mirror for you to see, to look in the mirror and to say, I'm not talking to this one, I cut her out, I can't stand her, she gets on my nerves, ew, I hate him, I hate my father did this, my mother did that. The more beef I have with more people in my life, you just have to realize one thing, one bottom line thing is, they are all mirrors, and they're all putting up a mirror to the wounds that you have in your emotional body. And the reason that this one steps on this wound, and this one steps on that trigger, and this one you can't stand, and this one doesn't understand you, and this one doesn't care about you, and this one doesn't come visit you, and this one, the reason that you have so much anger and things with people in your life is because you have wounds in your emotional body, in your emotions. And the longer it takes me to come to terms with the fact that I have wounds, because every person has wounds. Some people have more wounding, some people have less wounding. But every person, and the more I heal those wounds, it's like the physical body is just like the emotional body. It's just that the emotional body, nobody actually sees in a way that I can actually touch it and like touch it. But you could see on a person, the more a person is a porcupine, which means don't touch me, don't come near me, don't talk to me, leave me alone. The more a person feels like the world is a threat, the more wounds they have internally that they're carrying with them, and they're bleeding and they're oozing. And therefore no one can come near them, because every single time someone comes near them emotionally or physically, it's like burning a third-degree wound with more fire. They can't handle it. So every word that you say, or every tone that you give, or every text message that's not okay, or whatever it is, they freak out and they can't handle it. So it goes from that level of reaction to lower levels of reaction. But it's not the child. It's never going to be the child. It's never this. It's never. And you're only going to attract what you are. You don't attract what you think. You don't attract what you love. You don't always attract what you are. Period. And the longer I spend running away from myself and being busy with what I show the world that I am, because those are my defense mechanisms, the longer I spend dressing up the exterior so I get the affirmations from the world around me that I'm good enough, and the less I spend it on, why do I react like that? And understanding that my reactions, I'm not supposed to say, oh my God, I'm such an idiot. Why do I react that way? No. How do I come to heal my internal wounds? I have triggers. This one gets on my nerves. That one is so annoying. This one, it's okay. It's okay. So it's now bugging out. Oh my God, I can't believe I got a cut. I'm so annoying that I get cuts. Why do I always get cuts? I'm so stupid that I keep getting cuts. Just treat the cut. Stop attacking it. Stop judging it. Stop making yourself crazy because you have it. And just treat it. Just say, it is what it is. I have a cut. My mother was abused. My father was this. This is the life that I grew up in. The stress levels were up to here. It's okay, I have a cut. Let me treat the cut. As opposed to saying, I have the cut because she gave me the cut and he didn't care to stop giving me the cut. And therefore, it doesn't matter how the cut landed on you. What matters now is that you have it and that you're its parent. You're here now to reparent yourself, which means you're here now to be there for yourself when you feel all triggered and you feel all over the place emotionally, or you feel the anxiety, or you feel like running away, or you feel like no one loves you, or you feel like you have self-hatred, or you feel like all these things. Your number one concern is yourself. Nobody else. Not how it got there, not why it's there, not how screwed up you are for having it. None of that. Your number one baby to take care of right now is to be there for yourself. And that means, how would you want your best friend to treat you right now in this triggered moment? You treat yourself right now. Don't start judging you. Don't start telling yourself, I'm such a stupid idiot that I feel this way. I'm so stupid. I'm such a retard. I'm so sensitive. I hate being so sensitive. No more judging. No more bullies. No more being your own internal bully. Enough, because that makes the wound bigger. And then you know that friend that you want, and you know that confidence that you're dying to have, and you know that stuff that you want to experience in your life that you're not able to. It's because of those wounds. So stop enlarging them and digging into them further and making yourself feel worse. Stop. You're here. Your number one job in life is to heal yourself. And when you heal yourself, you're going to heal the world and your whole world. And the longer it takes you to tend to your own pain, the more you're going to attract broken people that are in pain.
Say that again?
The longer it will take you to tend to your own pain, which means to go through the pain, to feel the pain, not to distract yourself from the pain, not to drink yourself out of the pain, not to party yourself out of the pain, not to be in touch with a guy that makes you feel good about yourself for 5 minutes so you don't have to feel the pain, not to run away from the pain. The longer I stay away from feeling my own pain, from feeling my own stuff, the more I will attract people and experiences in my life that are going to be on the same level of pain and brokenness. That's how it works. You want to heal your life? You want to have a happy life? You want to have amazing relationships? You want to succeed? You want to do well? Stop running away from your pain and stop distracting yourself. And all those addictions that you have, the phone, the shopping, the whatever it is, fill in the blank, those are all ways to put off from feeling the pain for another 5 minutes, for another hour, for another day, for another month. The way to heal is to feel. The way to heal is to feel. And this book is all about the feeling aspects of human relationships. Yes. How many more Hagdamas are we going to have on Tomer Devorah? It's such a big thing. It's such a big concept. Yeah.
How do you feel like emotionally or whatever? Because it's hard to feel the pain now, but you still have all the stuff that it did to you.
The impact.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
Like all the triggers you still have, but like the actual beat from what it was isn't really there anymore. So how do you feel that?
So I would tell, I fought therapy for 25 years. I wasn't into it. I didn't believe in it. I don't think it's a good thing. I don't know. I would go to therapy and I would sit there and I would hold back the tears, control the conversation, end up having the therapist, me doing therapy on the therapist, basically. So how does that feel for you? Right? in order to avoid having anyone look inside of me. Even though that's the number one thing I was craving, it was my number one fear. So I'll tell you right now, I have succumbed, which means that it doesn't matter who the therapist is. It matters a drop, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is that you need to go and hear yourself. That sometimes I'll go to therapy and I'll sit there and I'll be like, great, everything's great. I'm like loving life. Everything is good. And 10 minutes in, all of a sudden I'm talking about something that happened to me when I was 7 and how I'm still operating based on that consciousness. Basically, I'm still blocking myself from certain things that I want so much in my life because of a certain understanding of a trauma that I had then. And I just held on to that and I created my life around that trauma. So number one is that you have to hear yourself talk. That's number one, which means that you need to go to therapy.
Can you just talk to yourself?
No.
You can talk to yourself.
You could talk to yourself, but not just talk to yourself.
Right.
You need to go through that rigorous training of sitting there and having to look at your stuff.
But why? I'm talking about your.
Why do you have to look at your stuff? So why do you have to look at your stuff?
Like, you know what it is. You know what happened to you. Why do you have to like?
It's not so much the what happened. It's not so much the what happened. Here's the trauma. Here's the event. Here's you, whatever age. Okay, it hit you. Okay, now it hit you. It created an impact. The impact now bent you a little bit. It bent you a little bit. Now it's gone. That episode happened 20 years ago. It's finished. You're still bent. Doesn't matter what happened. The details, he walked in, he did this, the details don't necessarily, what matters is the impact that it had on you. Now you have to heal the impact.
But how do you do that?
How do you heal the impact? So, are we all having that same question right now? Yeah. How do you heal the impact? I said a bunch of things here during this class. We're going to talk a lot this year about this concept. You heal the impact by first and foremost understanding that shame, pointing a finger at yourself, pointing a finger at the people in your life that did that to you, not forgiving, it creates more of the impact. The impact is even deepened. Okay? The number one way to heal is to first and foremost stop judging and to have compassion. To have compassion for yourself is not pity. It's not self-pity. Oh, Nebuch, I went through that. If that's part of it, you could also have it. You could also experience that. Which means whatever comes up for you, you allow. You don't push down, you don't fight, you don't give it a name, a label, a judgment. You don't say, oh, this is a good feeling, oh, this is a bad feeling, oh, I hate feeling this way. You allow the feeling to be. It's like a child. It's like a child. The child, for whatever reason, triggers you. Every single time the child comes and tells you about this flower that they saw, or that this friend that they had a conversation with, you just want them to stop talking. Because they trigger you. Because whenever this child talks to you about anything, it's like annoying as heck. You can't listen to this kid. So what do? You shove a phone in their face. You give them lollipops. You put them in front of a screen. You take them away. You move them away from your space. Every single time an emotion comes up that we are unhappy about, feel uncomfortable about, don't like feeling this feeling, don't like feeling this trigger, don't like feeling this uneasiness, don't like feeling the anxiety, don't like feeling all this stuff, we take a pill. We go to our friend, we smoke something, we watch something, we run away from it somehow. And the emotion is a child. If you keep running away from the child, it will keep showing up and it will keep getting louder and louder and louder and louder. You're going to be 40 and 50 and 60 and it's that same trigger you had from what happened to you when you were 7. It never goes away because you get older.
So you don't really believe in coping mechanisms?
Coping mechanisms depends which kind, not addictions.
But what if you're not addicted and it's just there's one night you just want to watch Netflix the whole day? Or one night?
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you're experiencing the trigger, you're experiencing the flare up of whatever kind, the wanting to shut down, wanting to run under your covers. Different people have different ways of dealing with stuff that comes up for them, for their pain, their trigger, their childhood, their stuff. Different people have different ways. Some people eat it to death. Some people go and distract themselves completely and go do exercise for 5 hours straight. Some people have different ways of running away from this child. But what I'm saying right here, you asked the question, it's a very good question to ask. How do you deal with it? First and foremost is to allow the emotion to be. And stop and understand that it's like a little child. And if you give it space, it's coming to say something. What are you feeling? It doesn't feel good in the moment. It feels over here like this. It feels like this. It doesn't feel good. You just want to run away from it. You just don't want to feel it. You want to feel good. You don't want to feel it. We're always wanting to feel good. So that's why people start eating and eating and eating and eating and eating because they're feeling not good. They're feeling anxiety. They're eating and trying to cover it with pleasure. Food feels good for a second, another second, and another second, and another second. So maybe I don't have to feel this bad thing that's going on. In order to not stop feeling the bad thing that's going on, all you have to do is first and foremost and say, hi, what are you feeling? Oh, you're sad. Okay, you're sad. And then you know what happens? Instead of eating yourself to death or smoking yourself to I don't know what or distracting or running away from it, you give it space for 5 minutes. You just give it a name. You say, oh, what are you? Oh, your rejection? You feel rejected? You feel unworthy? Oh, I hear.
Do you need
And all of a sudden it goes down.
Do you need to explain why it's not true?
No explanations. There's no telling you that it's not true. That's the thing. When the emotion comes up, the child comes into the room saying, hi. The child comes into the room saying, all these things. He stole my goldfish and now I have no life. So what are you going to tell him? You do have a life, sweetie. Look at all the life that you have. You have a room. You have a bike. That's not the point. The child feels like his life is over. That's what he feels. Give it space. It's just a feeling. It's not a reality. Feelings are feelings. But the thing is that feelings belong to our emotional body. And if we keep shoving them down and not giving them a voice, they go back and they injure us emotionally.
But shouldn't you just validate that feeling and be like, I'm sorry, that must be really frustrating and hard?
That's soon. That's steps further. Yes.
Let's say it's not like something like one incident that happened, but it's like something constant that happens all the time. Let's say you're you're around the person all the time that's going through something, so like things they do affect you constantly. So how do you treat a wound that's constantly being opened up?
First of all, you have to understand why you're there. There's something that you're gaining from being around that person that on one hand injures you, on the other hand gives you something. That's why you're there. Otherwise, if it was all lose-lose for you, you would not be there.
No, it's not that person's fault or anything. I'm just saying, like, in general, like, how do you treat yourself for it?
The reason we get attracted to people that are wounded, understand? The reason that you're in the first place around people that keep injuring you, okay, is because like attracts like. So that means like attracts like.
Don't opposites attract?
Opposites can attract, but always like will attract like. Always.
How does that work?
That's how it works. That's how it works. Like always attracts like. Meaning energy. Energy always comes together. Like and energy always comes together. That's how it works. It pulls into each other. That's how it works. So it's as if opposites attract. It's as if, I remember I had, whatever, I can't say something so private on camera, but I was sitting in a rabbi's office with someone and they said to me, and I said, I give the example, I am so like people person and like love people and connect and care and all these things. And this person is so the exact opposite. And this Rav was, after an hour speech, he showed me how internally, vibrationally, we're vibrating on the same level. The reason that it manifests by me with outwardly and it manifests by this person, he takes it into a different direction, inward, and cuts himself off from the whole world. But it's the same vibration. It's the same energy that we're putting out into the world. Just each person shows it in a different way. Yes.
I don't know if anyone ever says, but if the only way to help yourself is if you reassure yourself every single time, and if you want to attract good people, you can't be around good people, so you have to like make it that you go to a different kind of crowd. So
Naturally, the more you heal, the more you're going to attract yourself to the people that are good for you, are the right people for you that match. The more you focus on investing in yourself, in your mind, in your body, in your spiritual body, in your emotional body, the more you invest in yourself, the more your life you will see it. When you take let's say you take an addict, right? You take an addict. So that's their coping mechanism, right? That's what they learned in order to feel better in their life, in order to be able to manage to get through their life. This gives me pleasure, but I'm also that's the definition of addiction, where I'm gaining pleasure from this. I'm getting some kind of relief from this, okay? But it's also hurting me in my life. That's an addiction, where I'm getting pleasure and relief, but it's also hurting me. So you look at addicts in their life, they're not investing in themselves. They're not investing in their own garden. They're just avoiding pain, avoiding having to deal with their emotional wounds for longer. So they're making their wounds bigger and their life worse. Now, if you take any person and you look at their life, you could tell the person's level of health, emotional health in their life by how well their relationships are, by how well their life is, how functional their life is. When a person's life is completely dysfunctional or levels of dysfunction, you could tell where their emotional wounds are based on those things. Already we have so much data and so much science proving today where you can see that I told you this last time, that there's a cancer personality. There's a personality that gets autoimmune diseases like diabetes. There's a personality there. People that are people pleasers will always get autoimmune diseases. They're the ones that usually get the autoimmune diseases because the way their emotional body is set up, it's set up in they're so deformed and they've learned in their life to always please. Because why? Because if they wouldn't please, then their mother wouldn't look at them and their father wouldn't look at them and they wouldn't get what they needed, and their basic survival needs from their parents who brought them into this world wouldn't be met. So they had to twist themselves into a pretzel to learn how to get their needs met, to learn how to be seen. So what happens to their physical body is that their emotional body is so wounded, their physical body follows suit. So the more you invest in yourself on an emotional, mental, spiritual, you wake up in the morning, you make your bed, not because it's good to make my bed, because it's healthy. I drink a cup of water because it's healthy for me. The more I invest in myself, in my mind, because knowledge is power, in my emotions and how I react to my triggers, and the more I invest in how I speak to myself, to the little parts of myself that are wounded, and they're not 18, they're not 19, they're 5. And the way I react to them and speak to them, as opposed to, why are you such an idiot? And say to them, I understand you're in pain, you're in so much pain. I get it. It's okay, cry. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel. It's okay. The more I react towards myself that way and am my best friend on all levels, the more my life will look at. The garden called my life will see. I will not just have weeds, I'll have flowers and fruits and good relationships. And I won't have to work so hard to manipulate every relationship in my life. It's just going to connect with me. Yes.
How do you know when you finally move past or move past the triggers that you have?
Again, how?
Like, how do you know when you finally move past or move past the triggers that you have?
You change, you'll feel it. You feel it. You feel the change. You feel like you're less, for example, it depends what you're suffering from, but let's say people that are needy and they're trying to block that by looking cool and like, I don't need you, and they'll cut you off faster because if they smell that you're about to say, oh, I can't come, then they'll one-up you and be like, oh, I'm not going to be able to make it because they can't handle rejection. So all of a sudden, if a person like that heals, then they'll be able to hear the no and not feel like it's a personal attack on who they are.
What if it's something you don't realize? Like, let's say, like, I feel that. Like, I feel like I'm changing. Let's say it's something you don't realize. Like, I think you know it's that. Maybe you change it.
The reason you don't realize it is because we're not learning this stuff from first grade. We're not taught to pay any attention to the way we feel. And we're taught to think that the way we feel is wrong most of the time. And the right way to feel and the right way to think is like all the people that are telling us how to think and feel. So we doubt ourselves, we doubt our intuition, we doubt our inner voice, we doubt our gut feeling, we doubt our whole being, and then we're completely not aligned with ourselves. You have to start listening, and whatever comes up, comes up. And don't be afraid of the stuff that comes up that is nasty about you. And don't judge it. Like if the first thing that you think of when someone passes by is, oh my gosh, she's so ugly, or she smells bad, and then you're like, oh, you're so mean for thinking that way about people. That inner bully, she should, jump off a boat. Like throw her off the boat. Just throw her off the boat. Because she's not there as a friend, she's your foe. Anyone have any more questions? Your homework for next week is to read the chapter that I just gave you. From beginning to end. Read it with friend. Read it with another person. Learn it with another person. To go through it with somebody else. I want you to take notes on the side. I want you to come prepared fully as if you're teaching the first chapter. You got it? You got it?
Yes.
Yofi.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay, so could you take from someone and make copies?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I'm sending you the recording.
Sure. You have,
Email or WhatsApp?
I do WhatsApp. I'll put it on YouTube and I'll do WhatsApp. Hang on one second.
Oh, okay.
Bye.